I mean, so look, we're gonna talk about Doge a little bit, and like I'm of two minds about it because the problem, I mean, there's two figures that make this a very very difficult thing to get a grasp as to what's happening. One is it's under the Trump umbrella, which is just always kind of chaotic. Says one thing, does another. The other problem is that this is supposedly being run by Elon Musk. Will land on Mars by 2020. Guy, right? Somebody who just consistently lies to the public. Oftentimes seems to not understand what it is that he owns, operates, and what the capacities of his companies are. Somebody who accused those wonderful rescuers in Southeast Asia when they helped those kids who were stuck in a cave for days, accused one of them of being a pedophile because Musk was mad that the guy didn't want to use his toy submarine. Right?
He's just
Like
joking.
there's a problem with the visionaries, but these are people who are trying to get involved in your government in our country. So we got to look and try to get a good understanding of what it is that they're planning on doing here. And yeah, we can get into some of the drama surrounding this Doge in just a second. And I mean, before we get there, obviously, I think most people know this, but Musk, being a very, very mature individual, um, loves funky acronyms. So Doge is a play on the Doge coin, the meme dog coin, but he's calling it the Department of Government Efficiency.
Which I would just remind folks, and Mike Hale of Yorkshire Sucks made this point. Um, Doge was originally a racist meme about that sort of Shiba Inu Asian
Oh, shit, I didn't know
sort
that.
of thing, where it's like a dog mispronouncing things. So one of the things the dog would mispronounce as a
Oh
Asian
my
person is
god.
Doge, and I forgot entirely about that sort of context of that original meme. So
That was cool.
interesting that the Roman salute guy.
Yeah. Ooh, I love you calling it the Roman salute, Matt. I mean, that's a real guy who knows ball, by the way. And someone called.
Did you know the origin of that? Before I don't want to get too off track, but is from the theater in like the 1800s that
No, I didn't. What is that? Just
yeah,
what they would do? So,
to try to signify Roman times, but it was a creation. So like the Nazis were
I
literally
feel like if a
thinking they were going
fascist took over Egypt and they started doing like that,
exactly.
that's really funny.
um but yeah, so sorry, not to get back on the Doge trail. So I mean, before we get into the nuts and bolts of how Doge is going to maybe take shape, it did get more efficient, which is that it got rid of one of the heads of the department, which is Vivek Ramaswamy, exit stage left. Of course, we've covered this, his Saved by the Bell sort of phrenology of why Americans are sort of inculcated towards mediocrity. And that's why Elon needs to
You sort
replace
of picked the
accountants.
wrong group of people to start saying, "Hey, America actually has a bad culture and one that you shouldn't be preserving."
You got like Vivek, save that for the National Review. Okay. You cannot be putting that out on Twitter. Those have to stay in the journals when you start talking about the working
That
class
is
like
that is
that.
actually a really good point. Is that like somebody like him is probably used to rubbing elbows with guys where he can say something like that,
A
and
hundred
forgets that
percent.
that Trump is creating this kind of monster of a coalition that is completely outside of heritage foundation parties.
Yeah. And so like look, you can talk about that because I'm sure that's the thing is like people say it was because of that comment. He is in perfect alignment with Elon Musk and like we saw Donald Trump on HB1s as Trump calls it. He just inelegantly put it and put it in the wrong time.
Well, we will get into some stuff later, though, Matt, about some of the behind the scenes with Doge that might show that he was not in perfect alignment with Musk in particular here.
Oh,
But
that's interesting.
I know, but what you're saying is still true. Is that like, yeah, he's definitely in agreement with these guys. That's the faction, that wants to do some terror at the border. But oh yeah, we want to make sure that people working for our companies get preferential treatment when it comes to visas.
Yeah, so he's now expected to run for governor of Ohio. Come on, Ohio. I don't want to be
Jesus Christ.
shit.
Please, Ohio, you already showed up for us by defeating Notre Dame.
Yeah,
Please,
exactly.
please keep this guy out. Yeah. No, no. I mean, we got more Ramaswamy stuff coming, Matt, actually. So maybe we hold off on it and we can talk a little bit about what's going on within this organization and then this new news about the Ramaswamy ouster because it's actually very funny, Matt. Keep in mind what you were just saying, what we were just talking about, him talking to certain kinds of donors too much and forgetting how the real world operates.
Interesting. I mean, the only final note is in the final days here. Um, well, the Intercept article, Doge got sued 3 times while Elon Musk
Yeah.
watched the Trump inauguration. 3 lawsuits filed against Doge, claim Doge violates federal law due to structure and secrecy, alleging Doge flouts Federal Advisory Committee Act,
Mm.
which sounds like something that might pertain to it. Advisory committees, I'm not sure. Yeah, so interesting start for Doge, and no victories for Vivek to sort of snowball into his governorship campaign, which I'm sure he would have wanted.
Well, he might be looking for a job, and let's not forget that as something's getting revealed. But yeah, no, I mean, I think one of the things that's really notable about Doge, and we'll see like how far it goes, is in a lot of ways this is going to be a test case for just how out of line the Trump administration can be when it comes to its management of our government. Obviously, the president enjoys tremendous powers and ability to kind of shape policy and activity, and as we've seen the expansion of the office of the president, the power of executive orders have really created what people call the imperial presidency. But there are certain kind of safeguards that are put out there that people in DC tend to take very seriously. And Doge doesn't seem to be something that was sort of cultivated by somebody who has a very strong understanding about how government operates. It seems to be something that is the dream of a very, very bored and energetic billionaire.
Well, Elon Musk, and you're telling me Elon Musk with all the power of Grok couldn't come up with a really good plan?
I'm telling you, Matt, that Elon Musk started running his mouth off about a subject that he didn't really understand. No,
Weird.
but so this reporting here from the New York Times is kind of interesting. This piece is called inside Elon Musk's plan for Doge to slash government code. We won't read through the whole article, but I just want to take us through a couple of these things here that are particularly interesting. One, what is Doge? That's the big question everyone's asking. Well, it seems like Doge is a um, signal chat, so it's a big group chat with billionaires. On the eve of Mr. Trump's presidency, Doge is still amorphous and closely held. People involved in the operation say that secrecy and avoiding leaks is paramount, and much of its communication is conducted on Signal, the encrypted messaging app. Yes. So Doge, as far as it exists right now, is basically a bunch of people who are trying to get close to Trump and Musk, and then a few of these kind of Silicon Valley style guys who feel like they haven't been getting a fair deal. Mark Andreessen is one of them. We can go through some of these other guys that are listed as well. Mark Andreessen, Sean McGuire, Barris, Akis, and others who have a personal connection to Mr. Musk are some of these people from Silicon Valley who are in this group chat. Now, we can get into some of the specifics here. And again, there's a big problem with the legality of this, right? Because as you're seeing right now, Trump's already having to deal with the fact that the United States government is not a one branch system, right? Congress has tremendous powers. That's why Trump has to get his guys confirmed through Congress. Now, could that be a better system? Sure. But the fact of the matter is, like, Congress does have oversight over the presidency. Congress does have oversight over the government. And this kind of system that Musk wants to create is basically a dictatorship of Silicon Valley over the US government. And I'll tell you right now that that's not going to fly very far.
Yeah, there's only so much shit they're willing to eat, and to a certain extent, like Trump can cow and roll them. But that only goes so far, and Trump can't run for reelection in 2028.
Well, this is the thing is particularly interesting here is that, and we don't know. Like this is me speculating, right? But I've always felt that Trump has sort of told Elon Musk, who gave them a lot of money, right? That like, hey, give it a whirl. Let's see, go for it, friend. And it seems like that, given some of the early reporting. That doesn't mean, by the way, that these guys aren't going to do a lot of damage, because they're trying to figure out how they can get around these lawsuits, how they can get involved in the government. So the strategy right now for Musk is that he's going to get a bunch of these other rich guys from Silicon Valley and a bunch of his other friends who have particular interest in different government agencies and departments, and they are going to get these guys hopefully inside of the office. That seems to be the really big thing. They just want to be in the building, right? So, and that's already a problem, even if they don't get special clearances or authority or anything. A part
Trump
of this,
announced that too. I don't know if you saw that. It looks like they're going to get office space in the White House.
well, they're going to get
Yeah,
office space in the White House for sure. I'm talking about office space within the agencies and departments
gotcha,
that they're
gotcha.
supposed to be overseeing. So basically, it's still selective. This is the secret. This is the reporting that we've got from the New York Times, which basically has some undisclosed sources, anonymous sources who have had access to this chat, who sort of gave them the inside look at it. But yeah, so the idea is that they'll have. Um, um, that they can get into the buildings, the different buildings here. And now the hope is that they'll be able to get employment there and actually have official capacity, which we'll get into in a second. But just on that like physical aspect, right? There's a part of it that's like it's going to be annoying enough to have one of these freaks in your office. Could you imagine? You just get called back. Oh, you have to work every day in the office, right? Work from home's over, and you have some kind of weird guy from Silicon Valley who's read too much Ayn Rand and has been told by Elon Musk that they're a very special boy with great ideas, who's going to tell you how to maybe help the FAA make better decisions about what rich billionaires' spaceships can go blow up over the Caribbean. Right. I mean, like, there's a part of this that, like, just by unleashing the most annoying guys in America on into the federal government, like that's going to have an issue. That's going to be an issue for people who work there. But the strategy to actually get them involved here is Musk is trying to utilize what's called special government employees, which is a specific category of temporary workers who can only work for the federal government for 130 days or less in a 365-day period. That's from the New York Times article. So, what's special about these special government employees? They are people who work for the government for a select period of time, um, so that they do not have to go through the same kind of oversight and rules and regulations, particularly around conflict of interest. And that's what matters here, is getting these guys into government agencies, whether or not it will be to sort of disrupt flow of operations, regulatory ability of these agencies, or just to let these guys who have vested financial interests in all sorts of activities of government into the offices, into the more classified meetings, access to information that they don't have in the private sector, right? And they're going to try to sell this to the American people as, well, look at these whiz kids. Don't they look a little nerdy and goofy? They'll come and fix the government just like they fix their companies. While what's actually going to be going on is either pilfering of information from the U.S. government or trying to actively prevent regulatory investigation into their companies and activities, right? So it's a pilfering and a pillaging, regardless of what happens here. It is just kind of noticeable that, or notable to me, um, that as far as it exists now, it's a kind of who's who of really loud and obnoxious billionaires. Mark Andreessen, I'm sure you know, and many of our listeners know, he's one of these guys. He was just on the Daily actually recently talking about why Silicon Valley has, himself included in that, have left the Democrats, and it's because the Democrats broke the deal and started kind of insulting and attacking his fellow billionaires, particularly Mark Zuckerberg. He was upset that people were criticizing Mark Zuckerberg's philanthropy operations, which, by the way, have just been a way for Mark Zuckerberg to buy even more influence over the American system.
There's a good, people might notice I'm mentioning, Catalyst a lot lately because I'm reading through the whole back catalog of it. There's a funny, well, not funny, a very good piece between Cambridge between Cambridge and Palo Alto by Robert McChesney, goes into our boy Mark Andreessen. And actually, let's see, I can pull it up here. But it turns out that the thing that he, okay, you should tell your reader. I'm skipping about halfway down to this.
Mhm.
And the incentive on the side of the hippies and the scientists was here was this revolutionary technology which can inexpensively connect everyone in the world. It sounds like pop culture blarney today, but there's an element of truth to it too. That was certainly romantic, idealistic, and a powerful vision that would drive people to say, this is an important thing to work on. Neither vision had much room for the idea that people should make money off this, nor did advertising rise to take it seriously. In fact, when Mark Andreessen started Netscape, which he basically lifted from the University of Illinois where it was worked on, he found this to be a real problem. And then the follow up question here. You should tell your readers what Netscape is. Netscape was the first commercial browser, and it came along in the early 90s, right when the World Wide Web began to make the internet a mass medium for the first time. Mark Andreessen was a young computer scientist from Illinois who started the company, basically taking the software that had been developed at Illinois, not for commercial reasons, and he commercialized it and made a fortune on it. I mean,
Yeah.
how I imagine my shock when I found out that there was some kind of primitive accumulation going on with this yet another one of these guys, and it wasn't just some genius of his to make it. It was, oh, I could. Again, these people are not geniuses or philosophers; they're marketers.
Well, not just marketers, Matt, but they are people who have pillaged like the public before. That's a great
Right.
example of it. Musk is somebody who has gained tremendous fortunes off of the largesse of the United States government. But you go down the list here. And now what they're saying is like, oh man, can we come back into the candy store and see what we might be able to get here? Um, yeah, I mean, we can go through it. I highly suggest people read the reporting in the New York Times on it, because I want to get into this second aspect, Matt, which is some of this. This is breaking as we started recording. Report from Jeff Stein and others at the Washington Post about what happened to Ramaswamy, Matt, and you're going to love this. So, as you noted, there are those legal challenges, right, for Doge.
Right.
Now, we sort of went through some of the ways that they are trying to respond to that, the special government employees. And as you also noted earlier, Matt, like one of the things that Musk really wanted was to have White House access. Well, somebody who didn't want that was actually Ramaswamy, which is interesting, because I would probably actually agree with Musk maybe if I was serious about these things, which that might be the rub there. That yeah, you sort of want to be in the government. Doge revamp empowers Musk as friction spur Ramaswamy's exit. Donald Trump's order establishing the Doge aims to give billionaire Elon Musk's team sweeping access to operations at federal agencies, revamping its structure. The new structure, which has Doge taking over the U.S. Digital Service, part of the executive office of the president, emerged after months of behind the scenes maneuvering between Musk and fellow billionaire entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, the Doge co leader, who will depart to run for governor of Ohio. Deep differences over how the panel should operate helped spur Ramaswamy to leave, according to more than half a dozen people spoke with under anonymity. Um, but here's the best bit: is that effectively, and I think Jeff Stein has this summarized as a tweet, and I just suggest people read that whole piece here. But Musk's visions for Doge prevailed, culminating in Ramaswamy's exit. Musk and Ramaswamy have had diverging ideas of how Doge would work for months. Musk wanted Doge inside the White House, while Ramaswamy had wanted an NGO
Hell
as
yeah. I mean,
originally pitched.
this is scammer time
But Matt,
coming
this is
through
what we
with.
were talking about earlier. The difference here is that Ramaswamy needs a job. He's looking for a job right now. He needs something to do. And what better thing to do? This is, I mean, Ramaswamy is probably smarter than Musk. Musk doesn't probably need too much money and really just wants to see what he can pilfer from the government. So they just have different wants here. But Ramaswamy probably is correct that like, hey, yeah, if they just start this as an NGO and get people to donate money and treat it like a think tank, you might be able to actually make some money.
Bro, that I mean,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
any billionaire wants to set David and I up with a think tank
Oh,
for,
please. Absolutely. Any day. No, no. I mean, are you kidding me? The best job, you get to eat lobster. Some people, times you get invited to dinner. Every once in a while,
yeah,
you get to tell the president, hey, this is what I think you should do.
exactly.
No, I mean, it's a great gig. Ramaswamy, 100% vindicated. See, this is the problem is that somebody like Musk was, you know, emulating and worshiping the wrong characters from Saved by the Bell. While the smart guys, the nerds, the guys who win the spelling bee end up running think tanks and having cushy jobs in DC for the rest of their life. While Musk, I think, very much thinks that Trump is going to be able to protect him from the legal onslaught that is coming. And his attempt here, while very likely to be able to do a lot of damage, I don't think is going to be as long lasting as the DOGE think tank that could have been opened up on K Street in DC.
Man, that is so funny. That's
He
just
just wants a job. I mean, it's a make work program.
well, look, hey, win an election, buddy. It is kind of like I like when they're like Blake Masters, go run for office,
Yeah,
pal. Like if you win, then we own you. If you lose, then you kind of out of our hair for a while, at least.
I know, I know. So we'll keep watching this, but it has been kind of interesting to see that. As I'm not going to sit here and say, don't be alarmed or worried about this, but it is kind of relieving on a certain level to see the amount of dysfunction so far in the Signal group chat.
It's weird how that. I mean, Bill Ackman mentioned a group chat that he and
I mean,
Kushner and stuff were
that's how
in.
things get done now.
It would
I
be
mean, we
odd.
get our group chat. We have our group chat, just like you, me, Schumer, AOC. They're always telling us to sheepdog more people into the Democrat Party.
Exactly. There's like some sheep that are kind of getting out of this sort of flock, and you got to round them up. Like Chuck.
It is crazy though how much of this stuff is getting done in group chats. And
Be nice to have some more leaks, a little less security. But
I
I
would
mean,
like to get a lot of leaks over here.
this is why you can't have this stuff. You can't have Palantir privatize this stuff because we need people to be able to enter this through public service and spy on these guys.
Also, one thing we didn't get into in the New York Times piece, though, is Peter Thiel is obviously all over this and
Right.
has a lot of guys that he's trying to. I think they're going to get some guy in human. Some of the stuff in the New York Times was reporting that, like, there's limits. Obviously, they can't be running these organizations. Musk is demanding people. Then this is again where you start to have some skepticism about how serious this is because Musk is texting people things like, "Be prepared to work 80-hour weeks." 120, maybe 160-hour weeks. Just kind of insane.
See, I'm prepared to stop playing video games. You need to be prepared.